it's a really interesting, organic writer process. I wrote an outline for Unbreakable. It included Kevin Wendell Crumb. So essentially the movie Split and Unbreakable were the same movie, and they were very much the same. And they abduct 3 girls while David survives this crash and is told, hey, I think you're a superhero. We keep cutting to this storyline with the girls, and they're being held here, and the multiple personalities, and they see the beast is coming, the beast is coming. Meanwhile, he's like, no, I'm not a superhero, no, I'm not a superhero. Then he goes, maybe I am. Meanwhile, the beast is coming, beast is coming. Then he goes, maybe I am, and he goes to the train station and bumps into the horde and gets the vision of the girls and follows them back, follows the beast, and then the beast and him fight in that big moment at the end of the original Unbreakable.
And so you remove that for balance, I read, is that?
Yeah, all I wanted to do, the thing I'm most interested in is the first act of movies. That's the thing I'm always interested in. I know everyone's interested in the third act, but I'm really interested in the first act of the setup. And so I really wanted to make the movie, when I think about this, my favorite show, The Sopranos, I think, the really interesting thing about that is it's about the home life of what it's like to be the head of the mafia, and what it's like to go home, and what is it, can you be a human being, and all those struggles. And this is that. Yes, these are comic book movies, but it's really about what it's like to be a regular person and somebody that has these powers. And to do that, I had to take Kevin out of it, because all you wanted to do was be with Kevin. As soon as you start that ticking clock with the girls, you can't stay away from it. You have to go back quickly. So it started putting this enormous pressure on the character that I wanted to build. So I took him out and made the movie just about Elijah and David. And then I guess what happened is the type of movies that I was making changed in recent years. I wanted to make contained, smaller movies that I could control, and I can make them as weird and really signature and take a ton of risks. And when someone says, that'll never work, perfect, put it back, put it in, And so I made The Visit that way. And then I said, you know what, the next movie, I could make Split. I could make that second movie. And what would happen if we never told anybody we were making a sequel and we didn't sell it that way, and we just made it and put it out, and only in the last moment told them, hey, guess what? We're making a trilogy, And so that was the exciting idea behind it.
And James, he told me you met him at a Comic-Con party, and he said he was off his nut, a little bit drunk. Is that true? And why was he the person to play Kevin?
Well, I did, what's really interesting, right? That I meet the lead of my comic book movie at Comic-Con, which is what happened. I mean, we were at an event and he walked by me, and I was like, oh, why, hey man, and I just grabbed his arm and I was like, hey, and he goes, hey, and we'd never met before. And I said, oh, I'm a fan of yours. And he said, I'm a fan of yours. And he had come back from X-Men, and so his hair was growing back from being shaved. And it was kind of like an inch long, and maybe 3/4 of an inch long, and I was like staring at him as he's talking, and I had written Split. And the first time I checked, he was unavailable, but I was staring at him, and I'm like, this is the guy. And I was like, this is the guy, this is what the guy should look like. We shouldn't do any wigs, no makeup. Just let him do this and change personalities. And just like amazing things happened, his movie went away and he became available, and I sent him the script and he was like, oh my God, and here we are.
He got in touch, sent me the script. I asked him a few questions about it. One of the questions I usually ask is, what character is it you're looking for me to play? Because I don't like reading a script when I don't know which character it is, because there may be 2 or 3 that you'd be right for, and you get attached to the wrong one or whatever, and then they're like, oh no, it's for the other guy, and you're like, ah. But to that question, he just said, just read it, you'll see it's a lot, just go with it. And on the first page, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. And then the second page, and I'm like, wow, it's something different. And then I start to understand the complexities of the fact that I'm playing a character with DID and just how many characters I'll be playing. And I just saw it as a really interesting opportunity to explore DID, and also just a huge challenge, and that's something that I was looking for at the time. So I enjoyed playing Patricia, because there's something slightly repressed and kinky about her. I enjoyed playing Hedwig because he was so free and yet so vulnerable at the same time, and that's a nice contradiction that allows for a lot of play. As an actor, I mean. Who was the hardest? I don't know. I think the hardest to find was Hedwig. An adult, watching a guy who was 37 at the time, I think I was, pretending to be 9 years old is potentially unwatchable. and even if it is watchable, it might not be watchable for more than half a minute before you go like, I don't know if I want to watch too much more of this. So that was tricky, and I wasn't really getting a handle on it. And then Knight came along and said, why don't you try it with a lisp? And I was quite resistant to that, because I was like, I don't know, man. It's like, kids got enough going against them at the moment and all that. And I didn't know, I just felt, I don't know, nothing against anybody with lisp, but it felt like we were just going, I don't know, just, he's already so idiosyncratically different from everybody else, like why, it just felt like too much. But as soon as we did it, it worked, and it felt really right and real.
The crew would start clapping on Split whenever he finished, because we knew we were watching something extraordinary. The other actors as well, they would shake their heads, because you know when an actor's in the pocket and when they're doing something extraordinary that's happening in front of you, like you can't believe it. It's just alive and it's really working, and it's, you know, it's come to life in front of you. And he was doing that with these characters, and I multiple times I went to him and I go, I don't understand. There's maybe 5 people in the world that could even try to do what you're doing right now, and you're doing it, and you're doing it effortlessly. And I'm like, you need to be doing the best roles, the hardest roles in the world, because, you know, what you're doing is astonishing. And so we did know what was happening.